Good luck, gentlemen.
All right, so this is my second time doing this race. I did it last year. I got third place, and this year I did the pre-reg on USA Cycling to kind of show up a pre-race predictor, and it showed that this year I was predicted or slotted for 8th place. So wanted to make sure if I could do better. Coming into this race, had I not paid the $75 the week before, probably wouldn't have done this race. I ended up being sick all week. I didn't get any rides in. I was just taking medicine all week and just crossed my fingers that I'd feel better on this day, which really didn't happen. Yeah, I was all congested and everything, but I just wanted to see what I could do. So I talked to a friend beforehand, my friend that won the race last year. He actually smoked us, Brett, or James Byland. And he told me to look out for this guy named Shane Parrott. And Shane Parrott, I believe in the race predictor, showed him at first place, and he just basically told me, he's like, good luck, man, this guy's about as good as they get. So I knew to look out for one guy. It's funny as he described him exactly how he would look and what kind of bike he's going to ride and everything. And so I had my eyes peeled for this guy, and I ended up finding him later in the race. So here at the beginning of the race, the cool thing about this course is it starts downhill. So I did absolutely zero warm-up for this ride. 1, because I was sick. 2, because I showed up literally 15 minutes, before the race started. So from the time I'm putting my bib number on, my kit and everything on, making sure my tires and everything was right, using the restroom and also everything else, it was ready to go. So I used this beginning part just to kind of get a warm-up going. I also wanted to start out front because last year there was a break and I missed it. I ended up getting third place last year, but the guys ahead of me finished in the break, and I had no idea I had win because I was too far in the back. So, and also because it was downhill, I wanted to be out front. So if there was any crashing or anything like that, I wouldn't be affected by that. So this part it's not too technical, but I feel like if people are not familiar with the course or not very good with their bike handling skills, there's a good chance that someone could go down in this corner. This was the corner that I think probably threw most people off. So this is probably, again, the most technical section. Pretty much once you got out of this section, you're out of the woods. It descends pretty nicely. Not a big deal. So I won't put the whole race on here. I'll just do a good section of the first lap because I'm sure there's guys from the race that want to see themselves in the footage. And you see everyone in the beginning of the race, but then after that, it pretty much breaks up in the race, and you don't see probably too many people. So before we started, the Cat 4s went before us, and I believe the Cat 4.5s Masters, and I think one other group went before us, then it was us. So I think they had everyone 5 minutes staggered, and so now we're just zooming down the course. It's not a closed course, but they do have CHP, police officers, motorbike escorts, so it's pretty good as far as the roads being cleared, never having to stop for traffic or anything like that. Okay, so coming down here towards the very end of the course, I noticed that's the guy that my friend told me about, Shane, on the white bike up there, and the Aloha Freak Show kit, that he's going to be the guy that's going to do the winning move, and that's the guy I need to be on. So I was maybe sitting back 15th wheel or something like that, and I made a quick move to the front, get behind him, because this is the very bottom now. It's going to go uphill, and my friend told me that he can climb very, very well.
I think last year it was more up front. It's more what the first cutout is.
So here I am right here making friends with Shane, basically telling them, hey, I know about you. My buddy told me about you. Um, and you try to make friends with people hoping that maybe they're not going to go too hard, maybe kind of take them, not off their game, but distract them a little from going, you know, full gas, but didn't really work. He tested the field on the first lap, and then on the second lap he definitely got it. So I'm going to fast forward really quick up right here to the main climb. But before, you can see this kid, he's got some serious power and strength, and he gets up here and puts in a good effort up front. I'm, like I said, I'm not feeling very, very well, so I'm just trying to sit on his wheel, and I'm hoping he doesn't go too hard. But again, like, he gets into his TT position. He did this several times, and he would just go for it. And he won the San Dimas crit, or he got second in the crit. He got first in the time trial, and then he also got first in the GC. And then he got first in that road race. It was a 3-stage day. So I knew for sure he was going to have the strength to do it. So I was just holding on for dear life. And like I said, he made a good effort. I did a little poll after this, just to kind of show him, like, hey, I can work a little bit too, but by no means. I knew from this point, watching him do this and for how long of an effort he went, that I wasn't. I knew I wasn't gonna have anything for him. That even on a healthy day, I wouldn't be able to hang with him going uphill. On a flat, maybe, but uphill, not a chance. So here's the time for me right here. I'm gonna do a little poll. It's my time to flex my muscles, show them that I got some speed too, or I got some strength. You know how it is. You try to basically show people that you're a player too in the game. You're a player. So I get up here. I do a decent effort for a decent amount of time. I think I do a couple minute pull up there, but I didn't want to do a pull too long because I didn't want to be up too far front for when the actual climb actually started. So this is me just kind of flexing my guns a little bit. Okay, so here we are. We're about to go up the hill, make a right. So typically when I come into a race, I'm pretty confident in my abilities that I can at least challenge for the win or get a podium. I've usually been top 10 in all the races I've been in, so I always feel like I can contend, but today I did not feel that whatsoever. So we're about to start the real climb right here on the first lap. And I'm giving a good effort right here. And you start to see people start coming up on you. And you start to doubt, like, I don't know if I can. I thought this day, I'm like, oh my gosh, is this going to be the first race I actually get dropped on? And I'm going to get dropped from the main peloton because people are, like, moving away from me. I'm getting swarmed a little bit. I'm definitely moving back, not up. So I started, the mind games start creeping in. We're doing 280, getting close to 300 watts, high cadence, and I'm getting passed all over the place. And I'm starting to feel the effects of being sick, and so I'm starting to worry a little bit. And then this is the last part. The field is together. After this, the field's going to break up, and it goes into a breakaway of 9. And I believe this kid next to me in the UCSD, the University of San Diego cycling kit, I believe he called me out in one of my 2 videos ago at the Marietta crit, saying I was riding dangerous. I was gonna say something to him mid-race, but I didn't want to distract anybody or anything. And so again, right here, I'm thinking, oh my gosh, I don't know if I can hang. We're doing 300, 400 watts. This is a pretty long climb. And the pace is pretty ramped. And like I said, I keep kind of going back rather than forward.
So I'm putting in a good effort, 500 watts. You know, I'm not going as hard as I can, but I'm doing a decent effort. And I'm, you know, people are coming up on me and passing me. You know, a couple people might be dropping back, but more than anything, I feel like I'm dropping back, and I'm just thinking, oh my gosh, am I not going to make it? Am I going to have to pull off at the front and call it a day? I've never done that. I've never quit in a race. I've never gotten dropped, so I thought, could this be the day? But I was just going to give it my all up this climb and see kind of where we stood. Because the one thing on this race is that you don't want to do the race solo, because then you're going to descend by yourself. You're going to go on the flats by yourself, so you're going to end up going a lot slower versus riding in a pack. So I definitely wanted to make sure I was up front with people. But again, I'm not making much of a dent, and I'm putting in a good effort going up this hill. So I wasn't really sure how my day was going to pan out. So at this point, I'm trying to make sure I'm on the right wheel, because people are starting to drop off. And sometimes when you get doing a hard effort, you get behind someone, you kind of have your head down more than up, and you don't realize that there's being a gap formed. And so I was noticing, like, they're dropping off, and I was trying to get onto the next wheel before they started dropping off. Like, you know, this in-cycle guy's, he's going to start dropping. And then the guy up there with the blue shoes on the trek, he's going to start dropping. And so you're constantly having to make an effort to get up to that main group. So you know, you're constantly kind of surging, and you think you find a wheel, and then that guy starts dropping. You got to go around and keep going. So again, my heart rate's gone up pretty big. I think my max is like in the 190s. But again, like, I'm not feeling well this day, and so I'm not sure exactly how much harder these guys are going to go. Are they really going to blow up this race going up this hill? So I just trying to make sure I'm staying in contact with the main group. Now up front is that kid Shane. He's up front. He's leading this climb, and he does it every single lap. You know, he kind of tests him. You can see him way up there up the front, and he just kind of sets the pace. And I'm assuming at this point of the race, he didn't want to do a break, because that's a long 3 laps to go on the flat. That's a big effort. So I kind of figured he was going to stay with whatever group formed and then try to blow it up. But right now, I'm just crossing my fingers that I can hang on to this little group right here. I think we end up being a group of 9 that breaks away from the peloton. And I'm just crossing my fingers that I can make it with them to the very top, so that I can descend and recover with them, and then hopefully do the whole thing again, because I didn't want to get caught in between the breakaway and the rest of the peloton, because there's no way I was going to catch the break again, and then there's no way I was going to probably hold off the peloton. So I was just hanging on for dear life on this group of 9, and just doing the absolute best I could, so I didn't have to go at it on my own. So we end up making it to the top. I stuck with the group of 9, and I was super excited that I made it to the top and I was with them, because now I could descend and recover with them. Now at this point, this is my first ever breakaway in my whole time being in a Cat 5. I've done this was my 10th Cat 5 race, and I had done 2 or 3 unsanctioned USA cycling events, and I'd never been in a breakaway, and this is my first time in a break, so I was super excited to be in a break and hoping to make it stick. So we end up descending all this together. We end up doing the whole course together. So I'm just going to kind of highlight some of the other highlights that happened in this race, because it kind of stays pretty much the same up until about the second climb and then the very end. Alright, so here are climb number 2, second time around. Now this is us. We have caught the other group in front of us, which is the Cat 4-5, I think 35 plus. They were 5 minutes ahead. It wasn't a huge group. There was about 10 of them. and we caught them on this by the second lap. Like we were flying on the climbs, and then on the way up, not the main up climb, but the way back up, we were drilling it, our little group of 9. And so, again, this whole, climb is essentially led by Shane Parrott. I already knew he was going to win. This is his teammate, super cool guy, also very strong, and he was trying to help out Shane during the race, and they were cool. But I already knew I had nothing for Shane. I knew everyone in this group had nothing for Shane, and that was probably going to end up being us together and him off the front. All right, so if you see Shane top right, he just kind of is going to the front right now. The wattage instantly is going to jump up to about, I think it goes over 400 watts. We start to all single file, trying to chase him down, but it's a futile effort because homeboy has got them legs. So he just starts ramping it up, and nobody can hang. And we all know there's still another lap to go, and just not going to be possible. So here we are, pinning it, trying to stay with him. He puts in a good effort, and he does get away. Again, I'm in the very back, so I can't see exactly when he breaks off. Maybe we might be able to see it, but all I know is he put some hurt on us. Okay, so we finally get organized, trying to chase Shane down, and then this Suburban pulls out in front of us, and I'm already thinking, okay, the motorcycle guy, the official's behind me, and there's a strict rule, crossing over the double yellow, you're going to be disqualified, and so I'm not sure what's going to happen. So one kid goes for it, and you know how it is, monkey see, monkey do, so everyone's going for it, crossing over the double yellow. You can hear the horn behind me. That's the BMW of the bike honking. And I'm thinking, oh, geez, we could be getting DQ'd. But at this rate, I'm just following everybody else. I just want to make sure, I don't get left behind this group. So, right now our focus is trying to catch Shane, which he's nowhere to be seen on the descent, right, as of right now. And that car, we were held up not for a long time, but it did slow us down just a little bit. If you're trying to catch someone, it definitely didn't help. So we finished descending. We're on the flat for a little bit. And then all of a sudden, up on here on the right, Shane is pulled over. So here he is on the right, just getting on his bike. I'm thinking, dude, he got a flat. It's over. All that effort and time. Like, dude, homie had the race in the bag. And I thought, that bites. But hey, now first place is up for grabs. But actually, within about, a couple minutes, he rejoins. Apparently, he got something, I think, stuck between like his tire and the derailleur, and he had to get off his bike at least a couple times and get it fixed. And so I don't know if his teammate pulled over for him to try to bring him back. I'm assuming he did, but Shane does get back on. And then once I knew he got back on again, I knew, this race was his to be had again. He was that much stronger than everybody else. So now more drama. This guy right here on the bike, it's the official. And he's got a big paper in his hand. You can see he's holding this paper up. And he's looking at everybody's bib number. See, look at him. He's looking at it. And he hangs with us for minutes. And I'm thinking, oh man, dude, we're getting disqualified for that pass on the car. Because he's hanging out for a while. And then I start talking to the guys, and I think we're all getting DQ'd, and so we're all kind of just, for this next little bit, you can see everyone's talking, everyone's like, what's going on? We're thinking we're DQ'd. Like I said, this went on for minutes, so the effort, there's Shane's teammate, so he helped Shane get back on, and so it causes a little bit of drama. We're all kind of bummed out for a little bit, but then apparently there was a kid in our group that wasn't a kid. He looked young, and the guy was saying he needed to be at the rollout for the juniors, but he wasn't a junior, and so it was a kind of a fiasco because the guy, like I said, he was riding next to us for minutes, but then that all kind of cleared up. So Shane got back with the group. We're back to the group of 9, and last lap, people start doing tactics, so we'll jump a little bit further into the race now. So here we are, last lap, coming back up the hill. This is all of Cat 4. So now our Cat 5 break has gone up the road and caught the 2 other groups. And this is from last place in Cat 4 to first place. And apparently this motorbike on the right neutralized everybody. And when he did that, it allowed for a kid in the Cat 4 group to kind of break off and ride with us. And that allowed him to get away and win the Cat 4 race, which a lot of the Cat 4 guys weren't very happy with, because somehow he got in front of the motorbike and was able to get away. Again, we're full line. We're going 28 miles an hour, 29, and this is like an uphill kind of a rolly section, and we are full line. Compared to my race the year before, I think this overall race was, for me, each lap was 7 minutes faster. And the climb from my last year's climb was over a minute faster each climb. So this year's field was much faster than the year before. And like I said, we were just, Cat 5 has just got the biggest, like, variety of talent and discrepancy from super good riders to very new riders, and so sometimes you really don't know what you get. Sometimes you get super fast riders, sometimes you get people that aren't very good at all and it's their first time. But this time there were some pretty strong riders out there this time. So here we are, last climb, last lap. Shane's up front, putting in that dig, doing 500 watts. I'm getting dropped. I'm thinking I'm getting 9th place. These guys are out of here. And I'm just trying to keep it as steady as I can. And I saw a couple people go up the road with Shane, and I already knew, I'm like, there's no way those guys are going to be able to hold with him. But talking to some of the guys, their hope was hopefully they hung on to him long enough that they were going to be able to get, a podium position. He was going to kind of help him, pull him to that spot. So I start bringing people back, slowly but surely. I didn't think I was going to, but I guess I had a little bit more in me than I thought. So I'm just taking it little bit by little bit. I'm counting everybody ahead of me, like, nah, I'm outside of top 5, outside of a podium. I'm just right now just trying to pick a decent pace, make it to the top without, blowing up my legs. Like you said, people are starting to roll back. There's a couple guys up the road. I think it's first, second, third up the road. Those 2 guys up there, I believe. I'm just going to follow, this kid right here as long as I can, as long as he rides a good wheel. Like I said, the climbs are kind of hard to judge. You don't know really how fast you can go and how much longer is left. You just kind of like a big gamble. If you go too early, bad thing. So I just stay behind this kid. We just start hopefully slowly pulling people back. That was my hope. Now at this point I see that second and third, and I'm like, that is definitely doable. So I do a little bit of an effort to kind of bring them back. Not too much, but just enough that I can bring them back. Because I can see at this point they're coming back more than they are advancing forward. So like I said, I do a little bit of an effort to try to get to them. I do know that there's a decent amount of time left, so I don't want to blow up my legs. But I just kind of want to bring them back. So at this point, I'm thinking podium, man. I can get on the podium, second or third. And then this guy comes around and you go, gosh dang it, I'm off the podium again. Or actually, I'm sitting 5th right now, so definitely off the podium. But again, this guy provides a good pacing wheel to get up the hill, so I just kind of sit on his wheel. You don't really get much of a draft, but I feel just like up the hill, like it takes a mental load off of you of the pace, and you just can kind of just push rather than look and push and think. I don't know, something about it. So at this point, I kind of know that these two guys aren't going to be a factor just because I feel like when you come off the pace, you've come off the pace, and it's hard to kind of ramp up and keep up. Those are the two that try to go for it and keep up with Shane. And so at this point, I just got to make sure I hang tight with this gentleman in front of me and this kid to the right. And we're getting close to the very, very top. It kind of gets a little bit more flat, a little rolling of hills. But right now you can kind of recover a little bit and start getting ready for the sprint. I think we probably have maybe a kilometer left at this point. You know, people start looking around, seeing what they're doing, trying to avoid being on the front. I'm happy to sit on this kid's wheel again and just draft. I feel pretty confident in my sprinting skills. And in cycling, I feel like we do a lot of judging and kind of just basing off this kid. I felt like he was a younger kid. And I figured he's going to be a better climber than sprinter, so I liked my chances. I felt strong with this one too, that it wasn't a big deal. These kids are pretty thin looking. Like, not saying they couldn't sprint, but I liked my chances. So again, I'm just kind of sitting back, kind of just waiting for the time. At this point, I'm very happy with my positioning. I'm 2 wheels back. It's like a little train right now, kind of like a lead-out train. So I'm more than fine to sit tight and just kind of hang on for the ride right here. But it does start to pick up a little bit. A couple more gentlemen do join us. It kind of makes things a little bit more interesting up here at the front for the finish. And then once this kid came into the red, I didn't like my chances as much for the sprint because he had more of a, I'd say, an athletic build. Looked more of a sprinter. And so my position right here was awful. I was being boxed in on the left and on the right. So I decided to go right up here on the right, not too much further left. And so I just had to go to the front because I didn't like that position being boxed in. So right here I make the commitment to go for the sprint. We're just around this corner. I felt like I could get it, 200 meters right there, putting in a big effort, and thought I had it. I was looking over my shoulder. I could see the kid in the red coming. He was able to get on my wheel. I was boxing him out, but didn't want to be dirty about it. And I barely out-touched this guy. Right, you can see the wheel on the left for third. So got third place, pretty stoked on it. You know, Shane won handedly there. Super good rider, super cool guy. Great race. Definitely want to do it again. But I was very happy with my result for feeling a little bit ill and pulling up that third place. So on to the next race. And this is my last Cat 5, so Cat 4, here we come.